Hello everyone. In one of the interesting topic which is related to the core marketing concept, I welcome you all. We'll be having a discussion on some basic concepts or so-called core marketing concepts in marketing. So we'll be discussing marketing myopia, needs, want and demands, marketing offering, value and satisfaction, exchange, transaction and relationship market. Let's start our discussion with marketing myopia. Now, this theory or this concept was propounded by Theodore Levitt. Now, what is marketing myopia? Marketing myopia, introduced by Theodore Levitt in 1960, which emphasizes on businesses should define themselves by customer needs rather than by the product they sell. So, marketing myopia is a concept which discuss about the issues faced by the company, or it is about the philosophy of the company. Many companies believe they are in the product business, whereas they are actually in the customer satisfaction business. So marketing myopia teaches one fundamental lesson, which is successful company do not define themselves by the product they make. They define themselves by the customer needs they satisfy. On your screen you can see some examples, so we'll be discussing more in detail. We'll talk about product oriented thinking, which is myopia, and we'll also have a discussion on customer oriented thinking. So let's compare product oriented thinking and customer oriented thinking. For example, we sell camera. Okay, from a marketer's point of view, marketer might be thinking that they have a perception, or they believe they have a philosophy that they sell camera to click photographic cameras. Now if we talk about how we can relate this with the customer oriented thinking, marketer can advertise, or then they can market themselves like we help people capture memory. So this is how this concept could be related to customer oriented thinking instead of product oriented thinking, which is marketing myopia. Let's talk about one more example. We sell books. A marketer advertises says by saying that they sell books. Now if we relate this with customer oriented thinking, marketer can advertise themselves, they can communicate themselves like we provide knowledge and entertainment. Again, let's talk about a transportation solution, or like which is like we sell taxis. Okay, so this could be related by with customer oriented thinking, like we provide convenient transportation. Let's talk about one more example. Fourth example, we manufacture mobile phones. So if we relate this with the customer oriented thinking, as a marketer we can say we enable communication and digital lifestyles. Okay, so these are the four examples that we discussed, and how we can relate product oriented thinking to customer oriented thinking. On the bottom of the screen you can see there are four examples, or so called four brands. We'll discuss about them in briefly also: Kodak, Nokia, Blockbuster, BlackBerry. So from marketing point of view, and what happened with them over a period of time because of this short sightedness, or so called marketing myopia. Let's talk about the example of Kodak. They focused on film cameras instead of digital photography. What was the result? They lost the market leadership over a period of time, and because most of the people have started using mobile phone cameras, and they didn't developed or come up with the new technology, new products. Let's talk about second example, which is about Nokia, very popular brand, very popular brand name. They concentrated on hardware while ignoring smartphone software ecosystem. So this is how they had to face the challenges in the market, and their share was also market share was also declined. Talking about third example, Blockbuster, they focused on DVD rental stores instead of digital streaming. And now these days it has been replaced by streaming services and popularly known as OTT, which many of us are using these days for our entertainment purpose. Let's talk about fourth example, which is BlackBerry. They focus on business phones instead of touchscreen smartphones and application ecosystem. So it is their condition. They also same faced similar scenario like Nokia only, and their market and their business also face a rapid decline. So this is how we have compared some examples and about marketing myopia. Now the concepts and change, and we'll have a discussion on the modern view also, comparing marketing myopia and customer centric view. So we can have a discussion or a consider example of Netflix, Amazon, Apple, and Uber. So Netflix, like from my marketing myopic view, we can say DVD rental company, but now the customer centric view is like entertainment streaming platform. This is how we can advertise, we can market. Amazon, if we talk about, if we relate this with myopic view, a marketer might be thinking and advertising like online bookstore, whereas customer centric view is customer centric digital place. Okay, considering the example of Apple, they may from a myopic point of view, they may keep on advertising by saying they are a computer manufacturer, whereas if we talk about customer centric view, they must advertise themselves or market themselves as technology ecosystem enhancing digital lifestyles. Uber, again an example, is a taxi company, and if you relate this with customer centric view, they can focus, they can market, they can communicate themselves as a mobility and convenience platform. So this is how we can relate myopic view with the customer centric view. And so if we talk about marketing myopia, this could be related to, this is generally related to product only, product focus, short-term sales, internal perspective, limited innovation, reactive product features that most. So these are the criteria or the features of marketing myopia. Whereas if we talk about customer orientation or marketing orientation, this includes customer focus, long-term relationship, external market perspective, continuous innovation, proactive, and focus on customer value, because customer value matters most. Now, marketing strategy to address the unmet need. We'll have a discussion on need, want, and demand. So prior to that, we had a discussion, why do we need to, as a marketer, why do we need to study the concept of need, want, and demand? So for that, we had talked about concept of marketing myopia. Now let's have a discussion on small example. On your screen, you can see the need for purifier in rural areas. Now, without electricity, without running water, how we can generate uh, pure water or drinkable water at low cost. People in the rural areas still rely upon traditional ways, traditional method to get the drinking water. But how the concept of filtered water or RO water, RO has concept has this concept has emerged over a period of time. As a marketer, if we market these products in the rural areas or in the underdeveloped area where there is no electricity, then it is very difficult for a marketer to sell the product like water purifier or RO system. We need to understand the market, we need to understand the need of the customer, what the customer actually requires. So depending upon the different criteria, customer needs, and the location and the affordability, there are other factors also. The marketer need to understand how and where to market any product, studying the need. So the need of the person may be different in a rural area, whereas the need of the person in a semi-urban or a urban area may be different. Now on your screen you can see an example of the calendar, and talking about the example which is related to country India. Kal Nirnaya is a calendar, it's a brand that understood what its customers wanted and offer them simple solution for their needs. Today this brand or this calendar, this product has created a multi-billion calendar industry in India, and these calendars are almost used by many household, many families use these calendars every year. And this is how this brand has established itself, by considering the customers want, customer needs, customer requirement. On your screen you can see there is a comparison of needs, want, and demand. So we'll have a comparison, we'll have a distinction between these three concepts. So needs is the, it's like states of deprivation. Okay, this includes requirement for the food, clothing, shelter, safety, water, which is physical need, and social need also, belongingness and affection. We can talk about individual needs also, which includes knowledge and self-expression. So this includes states of deprivation. Wants. If want is a product desired by customer that is not required for us to survive. So want is the complete opposite of need, okay, which is essential for survivor. So need is essential for survival, whereas want may not be essential for survival. We'll talk about one more higher level, which is demands. Demand. If a customer is willing and able to buy a need or a want, it means that they have a demand for that need or want. So it has to be supported by the ability to buy any product and services. Human needs are most basic concepts underlying marketing. Basic concept underlying marketing. So human need is the state of felt deprivation. Okay, it is like feeling of shortage or absence deficiency. So we'll be talking about needs, want, and demand in detail. Marketing begins with the understanding of human needs and ends with satisfying them profitability. So as a marketer, we need to understand what the customer is really looking for and converting them profitability. We may be initially focusing on the needs, basic needs of the customer, and then focusing on the want, and then again we can focus on the demand. So this is how we can segment the market, and we can motivate consumers also to buy premium products. So this is why we can see in market there is a basic version of the product is also available, and premium version is also available. As we discuss, human needs is a state of felt deprivation. We'll have discussion on human needs in more detail. So basic physical needs for food, clothing, warmth and safety. It includes social needs for belongingness and affection, individual needs for knowledge and self-expression. These needs are the part of basic human makeup. Okay. So human have many complex needs. We'll talk about want. On your screen you can see an example comparing two products, so called apple. So one is depicting about want and another one is depicting about the need. So need is like what we really require. So in the second image you can see a fruit apple, whereas on the left side image you can see a apple which is similar to the which is actually related to the apple brand. So the human want is the form that a human need takes as shaped by culture and individual personality. So want is affected by the human culture, by the culture around us and individual personality. Wants are the desires for a specific satisfier of needs, whereas demands are human want human wants backed by ability and willingness to buy. Okay, so desire is like, let's talk about desire. So desire is always revealed by taste and preferences, whereas capability is revealed by purchasing power, which depends upon income and price. Okay, so we talked about need, want and demand. So need is the basic requirement or state of deprivation, and want is related to the desire, okay, which is revealed by taste and preferences. Capability is related to demand, okay, which is revealed by purchasing power depending upon the income and price. Let's talk about human want in more detail. So it is another concept in the marketing, and a human want is the form that a human need takes as shaped by culture and individual personality. So in the previous slide also we talked about the the importance of culture and human individual personality, which are related to human want. On your screen you can see an example, like want maybe like looking for a pizza, looking for a premium automotive brand like Mercedes, looking for a premium or premium brand of footwear like Adidas, looking for MacBook, looking for five-star hotel services. So again, these are the examples of some want. These are the improvised version of the need. Talking about demand in more detail, now let's have a discussion on demand. So when if we club together, if we club together desire and ability to buy or the purchase capacity, then this results in the creation of demand. So desire plus ability to buy is demand. Demand for a commodity refers to the quantity for which an individual consumers or the customer or a household is willing to purchase per unit time at a particular price. So demand refers to the desire, willingness and purchasing power. So it is a combo of desire, willingness and purchasing power. Demands are human wants that are backed by buying power. Demands demands are human wants that are backed by buying power or purchase power. Consumers view products as bundle of benefits and choose products that give them the best bundle for their money. Example like an American needs food but want a hamburger or french fries and software. Let's talk about one more example. Many people want a premium automotive product or a brand like Mercedes, but only a few are able and willing to buy one. Difference The basic difference between wants and demands is desire. Consequently, for people who can afford a desirable product are transforming their wants into demands. In other words, if a customer is willing and able to buy a need or a want, it means that they have a demand for that need or a want. Let's quickly talk about Maslow's need hierarchy. We talked about different levels of need, want, and demand. So this theory discusses about the basic needs of the human being, and there are different levels like physiological needs, safety needs. These are the basic needs, and then higher level is like belongingness and love needs, esteem needs. They comes under psychological needs, and then the highest level is self actualization, which is self fulfillment needs. So at this level the motivation increases when needs are met, whereas the basic level motivation decreases when needs are met. So when needs are not met, okay. So these are the different levels. So marketer must try to focus on the basic needs of the customers, and if they are able to fulfill their basic needs, then they must try to convert or take those customers to a higher level, which is related to want and demand. So these are the different levels. This theory could be related to the customers need, want and demand. So talking about the concept of needs in more detail, we can have a discussion on different types of needs also. We talked about needs, want and demand. Now again, there are different types of needs like stated needs, real needs, unstated needs, delight needs, secret needs. We'll quickly talk about some examples also. Stated needs like the customer want an inexpensive car. Okay, so this is stated need. Real need may be the customer want a car whose operating cost is very less, and its initial price is also low. Unstated need, third category. For example, the customer expects good service from a dealer. Good service from a dealer. So this is unstated need. Fourth is delight needs. The customer would like the dealer to include an onboard navigation system or some software or some additional gadgets. This is the delight needs, okay, which may be like customer is expecting to offer as a complimentary also. Fifth is secret needs. For example, the customer wants to be seen by the friends as a savvy consumers, okay, savvy consumer. So these are the different needs, and we talked about an example of a automotive product or a car, and these are the different levels of the needs. So that is the reason marketer always offer different product variants as per the different types of customer. So stated needs, real need, unstated need. delight needs, and secret needs. So we talked about these five different types of needs and talked about an example of automotive product or a car. Let's quickly talk about the concept and comparing the marketing old concept and modern concept. So old concept was related to the selling of goods and services and to generate sales and generating profit through sales only. Whereas over a period of time, the concept has changed and modern marketing suggests that recognition of customers need is very important. So recognition of customer needs leads to the production of goods and services, which in turn may create demand for the product and services. And this is how a marketer can generate sales, and marketer has to offer after sales services also. And this is how we can generate, as a marketer we can generate long term profit. So this is the modern concept, and this has been taken over by the old concept. The old concept was focused on generating sales only on the basis of whatever the goods and services are focused, whereas the modern concept is more focused on the customers recognition of customers need. So takeaway for marketing organization from this discussion or this concept of needs, want and demand is like outstanding marketing companies go to a great extent to learn about and understand their customers needs, want and demand. Companies address needs by putting forth a value proposition, okay, a value proposition which is a set of benefits that they promise to consumers to satisfy their needs. So company should focus on value proposition. The value proposition is fulfilled through a marketing offer, some marketing scheme, additional benefits, some sales promotion, and it is offered through some combination of product, services, information, or experiences offered to a market to satisfy a need or want. As a consumer, also as a customer, we can see whatever product and services are that we purchase from the marketer. They are not in isolation. Many times, a product is accompanied by some component of services or some information, whereas sometimes services are also accompanied by a component of product or information. The concept of product is not limited to the physical objects and can include experiences, persons, places, organization, information, and idea. In other videos, we talked about what could be marketed, what is being marketed. So you can go through that video also to have more understanding on the concept of different offerings. What are the different offerings offered by the marketer to the customers, consumers? Be careful of paying attention to the customer, to the product, and not to the benefit being satisfied. So be careful of paying attention to the product and not the benefit being satisfied. Marketing myopia is caused by short-sightedness or losing sight of underlying customer needs by only focusing on existing wants. Smart marketers create brand, brand meaning, and brand experiences for consumers. So these are some takeaways. Let's have a quick discussion of value and satisfaction also. Customer value is the difference between the value that the customer gains from owning and using a product and the cost of obtaining the product. Customers from form expectations. Customers form expectations about the value of various marketing offers and buy accordingly. So prior to this, we had a discussion on value proposition. So continuing that, we are discussing about the value and satisfaction. We talked about customer value. Customer satisfaction depends on the product's perceived performance, okay, in delivering value relative to the buyer expectation. So buyer expectation and the product value which is being the value is delivered for consumer, for the customer. Customer satisfaction is the key influence on future buying behavior of the customer, of the consumer. Marketers must be careful to set the right level of expectation. Customer value and customer satisfaction are key building block for developing and managing customer relationship. So this is how a marketer has to focus on generating more value and satisfaction for the customer. Now there are two images on your screen which depicts the modern views, the real and group of potential buyers of product and services. So marketer, if a marketer focuses on the value generation, value proposition, the marketer can attract the right customers, right consumers, instead of focusing or reaching out to spending more time on reaching out to the customer. Like it is like pull strategy. Marketing management is concerned not only with the finding and increasing demand, but also with the changing or even reducing it. So it is like customer and demand management. So related to marketing, we have one more concept which is demarketing. Okay, sometimes demarketing is also done by the company. Demarketing aim to reduce demand temporarily or permanently. For example, move traffic away from a popular tourist attraction during peak time, peak demand time. Again, this is an example. In reality, marketing management is customer management and demand management. So sometimes demarketing is also done. It is like cannibalization of the existing product and services. If a company want to discontinue its existing product and services, maybe because customers are not happy or the company is just focusing on the customer needs only, customer is not focusing on the customer's want and demand. In such scenario, such case, the company may cannibalize its product and services on its own. So in this tutorial video, we had a discussion about need, want, the basic core concepts of the marketing, and we had a detailed discussion on need, want, and demand. I hope this discussion was very important and it was liked by you, and you had a great learning. Thank you.